Good evening, everyone. Now I have returned back from my office, and now I will talk about something which I did when I was in ninth standard, and I got second prize for that. And I'm going to talk about the reformation of education system, which is required, which is the hour of our need uh, in the present scenario. And if there is no reformation in education system, so there will be no development in the field of education. There will be no research. There won't be any better chances for any average student to grow. All right, this was something I really felt in my time in school, that if a better education system would have been there at that time, there will be more opportunities. There will be more skill development at that time. I thought about it that if we had that much thing available at that time, so we would have got better opportunities, and it will be affected soon. Now even the present education policy of 2020, I think it is quite good, but it is not that well enough. Means reformations are there, but the reformation which is required by the Indian society, which is required by the Indian students, it is really had to be essentially looked upon. Now, my reference will be simply to the Gurukuls which we had before the attacks and invasion of Mughals and Britishers. All right, the time when in the ancient time when we were living and we had Gurukuls, and at that time, what education we perceived and how India was such a global power at that time, be it militarily or economics or any stuff in research science field, India was always ahead of all the nations. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to present a PDF which I have made from past 2 to 3 days by working lot and by recollecting my thoughts on education system, which I did during my ninth standard, and I was awarded second prize in the Jharkhand Zone by the DIG CISF. Or let's get continue with that, and let me just share the screen, and we'll go forward with it. All right. So, gentlemen, here it is. Screen sharing is also done. Now, I hope this is available. Yeah, it is visible enough. Now, this is my PPT which I have made. It is of just 4 pages, and in brief, I have tried to make you understand why reformation of education system is required. Along with that, what implements can be done to reform the education system, along with my basic understanding over the education and a little bit factual knowledge which I gathered. All right. So, for me, reformation of education system of India means the restoration of Gurukuls, which I have highlighted in the very first point. That is restoration of Gurukuls. And in my perspective, Gurukuls were the world's best education system, which not just India or any other country can afford. And it was the concept of Guru and Shishya. All right, and that is learning at boarding schools or guru's house and helping in day-to-day work at guru's house and helping guru by teaching juniors without jealousy competition and being envious. All right, means at that time guru and shishya had very close emotional bondage, and they used to learn at either at the gurukuls or the boarding schools or at the guru's house, and they helped in day-to-day life of in the guru's house, and they also helped the guru by teaching their juniors and without any competition or jealousy or being envious. All right, so this was something which was taught in our society, but you can compare it nowadays how much people respect their teachers and others. All right, now they had an emotional bonding between guru and shishya. All right, respecting each other and helping out each other with only one objective: growth and education. So in my eyes, there was a great emotional bondage between guru and shishya, and they both respected each other. Now present days, uh, students are not respecting their teachers, and not the teachers are also giving proper respect and making them completely understand the concepts in throughout way. And they were helping each other with one objective, that they must grow and they must respect the education, because education at that time was denoted by our Saraswati Mata. All right, goddess Saraswati. Now, what were the subjects which were taught earlier? So it came from literature, then religion, religious texts were also taught, warfare at very smaller age, all right, very younger age, warfare was used to taught, and then scriptures, along with that science, mathematics, and along with that astronomy and astrology, and science, technology, and surgery, medicine. These all were the things which were taught at very younger age, and there was no written examination. All right, and everything was practical. Uh, the students learned through practical understanding by surrounding themselves with nature and finding out the examples through which they can learn easily. All right, and there was only 10% of theory. And theory in what sense? That is the definition, and having made the thoughts, they used to write down, jot down the points which guru have told, and so that they don't forget in future. And this has nothing to do with their examination purposes. Now the practical test to get remarks and marks. All right, in order to get marks and to qualify a stage, there were only practical tests and no written test. All right, at that time. Now I'm going to talk about the present scenario. Now our we have followed the Britishers education system. It was very primitive and very backward in my eyes, and it started in 1830 by the Macaulay Commission. All right, and they bought the classroom concept, and they thought that theory should be better over the practicals, and they believed in dictation instead of teaching. All right, and they only focus over maths and science, and no weightage were given to other subjects which I've talked earlier about. And there was no knowledge in learning the society as well as the surroundings through humanitarian subjects. All right, and English was made compulsory from 1948, even after the independence. Now, when the education system, where education policy was made in 1948, so I don't know what was the reason, but they made English as the compulsory language. But they should have be more focused over the Sanskrit. That is our tradition and ideology and culture. But they made English as compulsory, and it was all right. It is understandable, but now the weightage has been given to English only. All the subjects are being taught in English. All right, we are just following the Macaulay Commission. Thereafter, Knowledge Commission, and what's not. Education policy reformations, and throughout the years used to come. Like recently, 2020 education policy also came, but very minute changes were done, but it was better than the previous one. All right, and there was a degradation of arts subject. Now, in present scenario, there is a degradation of art subject and art students. All right, if you have taken arts, that means you have no knowledge, that means you have no understanding, you have no brain. This is the condition. And even when I took arts, it was a big taboo in my house, and people do not used to tell that our son has taken arts. They consider it as a great taboo. Now the concept of more literate than more educated. Now the concept of education during the Macaulay Commission and our education in present scenario was given to more literacy and then educated. Literacy can come by any way, but the main objective should be education. Now we have understood that if somebody can speak English, and if somebody is very literate enough to express himself, that means he's more educated. No, that's not the issue. That's not the main thing. The main thing is whether the person is literate or not. He must be very educated in society. He must be have thorough knowledge of all the almost all the subjects. All right, but in practical advantages. And he must be jack of all and master of none, or we can also say jack of all and master of one. Now, what they did in present education system, they removed philosophy, ethics, and moral values and metaphysics. All right, metaphysics is something beyond the physical world. Moral values is something about the teaching the moral values, and ethics is something developed in humanity. And they have also removed philosophy, which had ruined the characters of most of the students. And these four subjects are more than 95 people in the present country are haven't studied these things, and only the selected ones, those who have taken their option subjects in UPSC civil services examination, they used to study little bit about it. That is one book of ethics and integrity, and little bit on moral science and metaphysics and philosophy. If somebody has taken their option subject, then they used to study. And if they haven't taken, or they are not interested in UPSC civil services, they would never read them. All right. Now, if we talk about what it has developed in, and it has developed in lack of interest in studies. Now people are not interested in studies. I can give you my own example. I was not at all interested in studies during my school time. I was more focused in games, sports, and extracurricular activities and co-curricular activities, and I was never in class. In fact, even if I was class, I used to couldn't focus at sitting at one place, looking at the blackboard and a teacher who is just dictating and not able to teach us properly, who is only focused on only 10% of student, those who are studying, right? Those who are topper, he used to think on that, and rest all 90 to 85% students were sitting idly, nothing, doing nothing, and even if they ask question to teacher, they are either bullied or they are made fun of that you don't know anything. And certain type of things were used to happen at our time, and it must be happening your time as well. Even in the present scenario it is happening, and we call ourselves Swadeshi and Atmanirbhar, and we are completely following the Britishers and English, modern English system and education system, but still we are calling ourselves Swadeshi and Atmanirbhar. I don't believe we are self-reliant in this. Now, what recent development has been happened, that online learning resulted in various pros and cons, right? Online learning is quite effective. In fact, if you are watching my lecture it here, if I'm doing some videos, it is through online learning through the YouTube platform. But it has advantages and disadvantages. That is pros and cons. Now, what are the advantages? You get the flexibility in learning. You can learn anything. You will be very flexible. You will be relaxed. You can learn anything as possible, and it is affordable. You are watching this video absolutely free of charges. All right, even all the contents are available in the YouTube very in all in very, I know, free of cost. And even if you take some subscriptions over the other platforms, it is quite affordable. Along with that, options available in learning in same city with different teachers. Now, what opportunity has been given to students, that one can study the same subject but with different teachers. All right, and what are the disadvantages? Poor relation between student, children, and teachers. There is no relation, no emotional bondage, no understanding of the student and teacher. They just act and they go. All right, and we get addicted to the digital platforms. We are completely reliant on them. And reliability of machine, my next point has been given. We are more reliable on machines. Now machines are more creative than men. All right, now we develop some psychological problems like laziness, procrastination, lack of focus, poor public relations, poor communication, unable to talk to new people, no feedback and no improvement. Along with that, no direct guidance, and more screen time, resulting in poor eyesight, lack of flexibility of body, and longer hours are sitting, back pain, and non-respecting teachers as it was earlier. So these are the pros and cons of online education which we have dealt with, and which are presently student dealing with. And especially in the COVID time, it was very helpful. And though there was no studies, even the examination were done online, but thanks to where I studied, it was offline itself, and the classes were already taking places. Now the teacher's behavior in the education is the privilege and not a right. All right. Now, in our present days, teachers think that if somebody is getting education, it is a privilege. He's getting a privilege, but they always forget that getting an education is a right of human being. So he must teach him be being at a very responsible position, that I am teaching as it is his right of the constitution. All right. He teaches as if he's giving us favor to come in class. Now teachers used to think that he's giving you favor to come in class. And what initiative I took? And in our class, what initiative I took, I was school captain at that time. So I told sir to teach us in better manner, or I will take some steps. I have made myself very clear to my teacher that if you don't teach us in better way, because more than 70% of my friends were average and below average category. All right, they never understood a point which was made in schools, or and they didn't had much money to invest upon the expensive coaching classes. So they were completely dependent on school, and they have completely ruined their life because of the this poor education system of India. All right, now I was quite quick learner at that time, and I used to uh, learn quite effectively in very less time. I understood things at very fast pace, but my major friends were below average. I've told about this, and they had many problems in science and maths. And I, as a school captain, I took in an initiative. I complained to principal that he's not making us study. Now the even the when the teacher was changed, he was also following the same thing. Now again we went to the principal, and our principal started saying that now there is no problem in the teacher, there is a problem in student. Now he started blaming on the students as well. But it was the effectiveness of the teachers which was which matters really in our life. All right, now teachers thinks as that education is a luxury and not a human right. So it is not a great thing in my eyes. It is education is not a luxury, it is a human life, right? Human right. We are all given chance to study, and it is not luxury that if one can afford it, then only they can go for the education system. Now another problem which I believe is discouragement of teachers. Now we ask more questions and we are unable to understand repeated, and which results in bullying of teachers. All right, teacher used to bully us, and then the teacher's favorite students used to laugh on us. It is very common scenario. I don't know if anybody would have not understood or pointed out in their school times. Usually happen when you ask teachers by repeated time that I'm not able to understand, please make me understand. The teacher will bully you. All right, that means you are not very educated enough, you are not having this much of brain that you can understand. Then used to laugh by the teacher's favorite, the toppers one. They used to laugh at you that you are not able to understand simple topic. But they have ruined the mindset of children. All right, and they couldn't think out of the box, and if they tell something unexpected, they are bullied. Now the mindset of children have been ruined, right? They can't think out of the box. They can't ask questions out of the syllabus or the curiosity which they come across. Now they are said that you are doing something unexpected, that means you are bullied. You are not able to understand properly. You are not putting your brain in the syllabus, and teachers were mainly interested in completing the syllabus. Now education system are forcing children to be clerk when they want to be Bill Gates, that is billionaires. Now children's mindset of students are quite vivid and very much creative. They can be anything in my eyes. They can be Bill Gates to any person, from IS to IPS to army officers to Air Force officers to pilots and to ship captains and Bill Gates. All right, these all things any child can become, but the education system has forced them to be clerk. They have made them to be employed over some other MNCs or different platforms. Now you can see that people who have done MBA, BTech, and everything, and still those who have also prepared for UPSC, and they are going to startup areas. Startups like you have heard of MBA Chai Wala and BTech Pani Puri Wali and BTech Chai Wali, UPSC Chai Wala. These all are people are available on the YouTube. You can watch them, and I've even met them on the when I was in Delhi. All right. I mean, I'm still in Delhi, but I have met them on around 1 to 1.5 year prior, and they also told the same thing that education system is ruined. That's why even after doing MBA from IIM or BTech from IIT, they are still pursuing the startups. They are making chais and pani puris, and still they are unable to make use of their education which they have used in those systems. Now they understood that subject knowledge can't help them in life. They started gain capitals and resources by small steps, which might seem ordinary, but it will be successful. Right? This is their creativity which they have been using to improve their lively conditions and to gain capitals and resources. But they have back in the mind there is always a point that any subject knowledge hasn't helped them. The creativity has helped them. Right? All right, and it will help them in longer run. Even if they do not succeed in education, job, profession, but they will be more prosperous and successful, and they will be named and famed. All right. Most importantly, they will have an identity in their world. Now everybody knows I'm a chai wala. Now he has been given an identity now in this world. Why? Not because of his education, not because of his any he's done his professional course from IIM or Indore or Bangalore whatsoever, but he has made an identity of him because of his own creativity, because of his education, non-literacy. All right, and they will be proud of themselves. People will be people will be inspired by them. Now, education of India have ruined more lives than tobacco, and they have focused student to be unemployed and perspective of society. All right, now they are forcing the student to be unemployed and if you don't take subjects, then in the perspective of society you are unemployed. You're going to be unemployed. And if they take science, that means child is very good. And if he takes arts, that means he's a loafer. He doesn't understand science as a major subject. That's why he has chosen arts. And people define intelligence based on maths and cognitive tests. How stupid it can be, right? People are thinking that if somebody is able to do lots of cognitive tests, maths, and if they are very fast enough, that means they are very intelligent. No, it's not. Who made this test? That's my point. The people who thought that they're intelligent than others, the test which most people can't do. If most people can't do something, that means it is something requiring high IQ. That is their perspective. If most people are not able to do it, that means it must be requiring some high IQ. And if people are able to do it, catch it, that means they are very intelligent. But it is not like that, because those tests have been created by somebody, right? It is not a definition of education. It may be something worthless, because most of people are not able to do it. Basic humans can't do it, that means it's worthless. Then I'm ready to be optimistic and wrong instead of pessimist and right. This is my point of objective. That means if you are optimistic that I'm intelligent, even though you are wrong, you will be happy. All right. But if you think that I'm right, then you are pessimist. Then it is completely sad reality of yours. It has given science and tech a new platform. All right, but it is not. But some people might think that technology is a requirement. How you could say that science and maths haven't given us anything? What's your logic? So I am not against the science and tech, my friends. I am with them. It is requirement of our present time. Education is required, but I'm not against any subjects. What I'm speaking for those kind of people who are not interested in science and tech. What about them? Do they don't have any life, or we will let us to suffer? Is life is beyond science and tech, right? Life is always beyond science and tech. We can't just be more focused on science and tech and everything in life will be solved. Life is beyond science and tech. It is more about society and giving back to society. If everybody has working if I take the example of army, if everybody is working in corps of engineer and EME or signals or the India army air defense, then you will join the infantry. Yeah, think on it, right? Now the student can't apply their studies when they mug up, and can you blame students on it? No. Society and education system, right? Now many people like me, they can't apply the studies because we have just mugged up, and we have given the examination, we got the marks and we were happy, but it has ruined us in longer run. And can you blame student on this? No, because education system, the society and the teachers made us do it. And we can't blame our parents, our teachers, and even the society, because what they did, they are just following the norm which was created back in 1830s by Macaulay Commission, or by 1948 by some education system, all right, knowledge commission. But it is the education system which has to be changed. Now it has resulted in frustration in studies. Family pressure is there. Why not studying? Why you have got not enough marks? see somebody else is doing this and you are still doing this, you are not able to understand. Now, no, students modesty, understand. All right, the people take like me, I was never interested in science, but because of my modesty, a little bit of family pressure, I have to take it, because I can't say no to my father. It was something his dream. He wanted to do science. I was not interested in, so he wanted to fulfill his dream through me. So I was modest enough to, okay, father, I'll do my best. Even though I was not interested in it, I tried my best. All right. Now, why education system is needed? To understand the students and their way of learning. Now, every type of student is different. We are unique. We are different, and education system is required to research in that field, how to make students learn things. This is where science and technology comes, right? You should put more science and tech for the type of students and their way of learning, and not to ruin their mind for preconceived and prejudice over the studies. All right, like preconceived and prejudice means, if you take science you're intelligent, if you don't choose your engineering, that means you are not very intelligent. If you don't choose biology, that means you are not good enough. This type of preconceived ideas and prejudice have ruined the condition and the mindset of students. If you can't understand something, that means you are very weak enough, and even people don't help you out. Now children can't help you out, and the main work of education system and the teachers is to change their way of teaching, and which requires reformation and researching. All right, in order to make the students understand, instead of just telling them and dictating everything on the blackboard, try to find more ways to provide education better of the student, because every type of student is different. I've talked about the type of students in the later part of the video. Now, when I joined the English medium school, I was not very good in communication. All right, I was from the village background, and I came sometimes unconsciously I used to speak in my village language, and which resulted in various complaints. And you know, s- they thought that I'm quite sometimes abusing, but it was my rural language, which I said unprofessionally and unconsciously, because I was not having that desired modern literate educated English language. So they thought that uh, they won't talk with me, they won't make friends. And for 2 semesters I was seeking, and I was not able to talk to anyone. I was very much fine in speaking in Hindi, and though the modern education at that time they were not able to talk to me. So this was the problems which I had faced at that time. And thanks to my teachers and the Hollywood movies, which I practice a lot, and I improved my little bit English, which I'm able to speak. And initially I hated English, but later I liked English the most, and I fell in love with the language, and I did my graduation in English itself. Now, what type of students are there? Some can learn by reading, some can learn by watching, some can learn by listening. So if these are the type of students, how come you can teach all type of student by the same way? And how do you expect that they will learn the same thing by the same type of education type and method which you do? It is not possible. Every type of student requires different type of teaching method. Understood? And there are some candidates like me also, who do not learn better by reading or even watching or even listening. We learn through activities, experiences, and feelings. These are the kinesthetic learners which I was in my school days and even presently. And but thank God to my mindset that I was quite quick in learning, and I have photographic memory. At that time I was able to learn most of the things by visualizing. All right. Now the education system was built to better the students' experiences in learning, instead of dividing the students on the basis of performance as excellent, poor, and average. All right. Now education system was something to unite the students, all from all types of backgrounds. Education can unite the students. The Sudama and Krishna. But now it has divided further the students on the basis of how excellent you are. Excellent people will be having different group, poor student will be having different group, will be of no group, and average student will be average. All right, which has resulted in competition, compact studies. You study at one room, lack of interest. No, average and poor student do not have very lack of interest. They have too much lack of interest in their studies, and even the poor students result in suicidal thoughts. I will talk about it later on when one of my friends suicided. because poor marks. So in my school, if you don't choose engineering or medicine, you are a wasteful student. All right, no one will respect you. Teachers won't help you. Family will give you pressure, and friends might distance from you because you're not sharing the same goal as they share. All right, and they would pursue a career, and you would pursue a career, and for you hated the most just to get gel up in the society. All right, and there was my friend Saurav, and he was very sick. All I could see that dark circles in his eyes, and he used to study a lot, but he was not interested in science and maths. But he wanted to be doctor, but due to family pressure, and social anxiety, and he has to choose engineering over his doctorate. And and he put lots of effort in learning maths and everything, but still he was not able to do it. He never qualified an IIT. He never qualified. He didn't. He passed his 12th with very poor marks, around 55 percentage, because all of his focus was completely on IIT, learning short tricks and what's not. And along with poor marks in his 12th standards, so he had to do ordinary BA. He just did BA pass from a nearby state government university, and he got into the family business. Now that is running general store. Now the boy had lost his interest in being a doctor profession as well. We could see that he had very much interest in being a doctor. He used to talk to students who were doing biology about the stuffs, how did they learn, and everything, what is required, and telling about human body parts and everything. But his interest was completely ruined. He hated studies so much that he actually hated the doctor profession as well later on, and he started running the general store. Now what my perspective is, there certain types of people should be there in school, which is the education system's need. There must be a psychologist to guide the students for good mental health and help the parents in good parenting. No, all type of parents do not know how to give good parenting. All right, they just leave students and they suffer a lot. And the students, for family pressure, social anxiety, and what's lots of expectation, it result in poor mental health. So psychologists must be there to guide the students. There must be counselors, all right, who must meet the students and parents in once in every 3 months to guide the children professionally, that what subjects has to be chosen, so that as per the interest of the student, so that the student can do well. Then there must be an ombudsman. Now what is ombudsman? It is a concept which is being introduced in Finland. All right, Finland is a nation, it's part of Scandinavian nation, and here the main focus is to well-beingness of the students to become a citizen of society as well as the nation. Now, what ombudsman do is that he keeps the talk between the student and himself very confidential, and he do not get in contact with teachers and parents. And but it is really good. Ombudsman is like somebody with whom you can talk and express yourself completely. All right, it is really pain relieving to have ombudsman and counselor as well as a psychologist, which really help a student to grow, to do well. Now even I wanted to do arts in 10 plus 2, but my parents wanted me to do science. All right, and I have already told you about that. Due to modesty, I choose. And even though I had lots of potential, even my teachers told that I have lots of potential, I was not able to score much because my father wanted me to do BTech. Now I said, no, father, I don't want to. I took stand there that I don't want to ruin my life completely because of your decisions. I want to stand on my own. I want to do what I believe. And very humbly, I told that, father, don't ruin my life. I don't want to do the BTech and science everything because I was never interested in that. And I'm very thankful that I took English over that engineering and different things, because my sister have already ruined her chances when she went to Kota and for the engineering. And she had little bit passion on the engineering, but it went out of the window when she went there. Her board marks were not very good, and uh, she also couldn't able to qualify the JE and mains and what's not. And I was actually happy. I did my English honors, and I was not never into the engineering and everything. Now, after taking our own responsibilities, my father never forced any decision on my childhood days. Right? He understood that I am taking my own responsibilities now. I'm taking more my own decisions. So he never forced his decision over me. And From that day itself, after the 12th, I took all of my decisions and I done really well. I did really well in extracurricular and co-curricular activities. Brought name and fame to my parents. In the township, even the DIG, who was my father's senior, used to remind that your son's picture has came in newspaper, and my father was really proud of it. And even the psychologists, say that one must not. Even the psychology I've studied in Jordan B. Peterson's rules of life and beyond order, they have been told that one must not do what they dislike. All right, you mustn't do that thing that you dislike in life, because you should live your life on your own terms. Yeah, you have to be happy and satisfied in your life, and because you have one life and you are the hero of your life, so take decision on it. All right. Now, example to teach subjects and concepts. We require examples in teaching subjects and concepts. Without examples, there is no understanding. And there was no one to talk to. Student even had expectations and no one to guide us. A friend of mine, which I told, that Bindu, she suicided after her 12th results. She got just 72%, but she was very much hardworking girl. But her parents wanted her, used to send her for IIT for the coaching, and she was not able to cope up with IIT and education. Her 12 10 plus 2, for which she had to suicide. She suicided, and it was very painful for most of our friends. And but what we can't blame the parents and the teachers. It is the education system which has to be blamed, because parents want best for the children and teachers want marks and selection. All right. Now I've asked that, who is responsible then? The answer is the education system. If there is no reformation, there will be more Bindus than Ayush. All right. The student does not get favorite college even scoring 99 percentage. You can go that 99% of someone has scored and they can't even get St. Stephen's College, Delhi University and other stuff, because they have to settle somewhere in less, where they deserve less and expect. All right. So it is because of the education system. Now, in my school, more than 85 students were below average. I've already told, and 20% were having serious mental health, like depression and anxiety at that time. And the teachers didn't care much. They used to go for the toppers. Even if the poor children used to ask any of the question, uh, they were made to be silent, and they were bullied for poor marks. And the teachers were always focused on the 10% of the students, those who were toppers. And even they never put in any effort in the classroom, the teachers, because they already know that these toppers are having expensive coaching, right? And even the toppers understood very little in the classroom, which I have noted, but they used to do very well in the coaching centers. All right. So teacher never put it any effort in even making them understand, but he was always teachers were there to make them understand, and to clarify their theories and what problems they have. Clearing their clarities. And even the teachers and parents, everybody compared us to the parents. All right. They used to compare us with other students, and but they forget that students are different. They're always unique. And if student couldn't understand something, it is because of teachers and education system. Teachers are also in trouble of completing the syllabus already in time. They are also in trouble of completing the syllabus, and sometimes teachers used to skip some topics in order to complete the syllabus in time. And who suffer? We suffer. All right. Now, an environment is also required to study your subjects. And it is not, for me it was not possible to focus in the classroom. I was more outgoing kind of person, and I wanted somewhere where I can correlate things with my surroundings, and I can take examples from my surroundings. So I always preferred nature for studying, just like Gurukuls. And even in my graduation, my favorite teacher used to teach me in the outside of the classes only. Now, questions were asked by the student must be respected instead of punished. If you ask number of questions, you are punished in the class. But go outside, you are wasting your time, and we don't have time for this. I will tell you tomorrow. These type of things, punishment used to happen. If they ask question, they will be bullied for their over smartness. They will be called, "Oh, you are very over smart. You are asking questions. You are trying to ruin my image." and everything. And then you will be made fun that you are a question box, you are a question bank, you will ask lots of questions. Education system is rigid in belief and ideology. In my perspective, our education system is very rigid, and in earlier times gurukuls were very flexible in methods of teaching. Even in if you see Gita, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna taught Arjun before going to war by number of examples, right? Number of examples he have given to get ready Arjun, because Arjun was not able to understand why he should tell his teacher and Pitama, everyone, brothers, in order to justify the justice. Now in Mahabharata, Arjun was against his teacher at war. But was he a bad student? In fact, the favorite student of Dronacharya. Right? Similarly, if I am asking something, if I want something, if I'm at war with education system, that doesn't mean that I'm a bad student. All right. In fact, uh, I was in fact some of the most potential student of my school and college. I was school captain selected. I was NCC uh, cadet, as well as I was the president, and other stuffs were also there. Why to speak on myself? So I'm the Arjun. Everybody's Arjun in their life, and this is your field of interest where you have to do well. And Lord Krishna is always there to guide us. The education system is simple, based on all India ranks and killing our individuality. The education system is has been who has been topped, who has bought some AR one. This is all about our education system has become from and it has destroyed our individuality. If education system is better, everybody can become a AR one here. What's the problem? And we are now dependent on machines, and machines are more creative than us. You can go for GPT, it's very good example. Chat GPT can give you all types of questions, and it is more creative than any other human. And who developed Chat GPT? It is some other human who have developed. Now machines are becoming more and more creative than ourselves. Now, I must end by telling a little bit about the three dates, which I was a little bit inspired. Um and I also thought, why not to keep it in mind. Now, the protagonist, Ranchodas Chanchat and Hunsuk Bangadu, he was the protagonist of Three Idiots, and he said that life is a race. All right, and if you don't run fast, you will be a loser. And to be honest, we are running in a race in which someone has bike, someone has a car, and someone is running on foot. Life is not fair with all of us. Correct? Life is not fair with all of us, because some everybody comes from different background. Some is having condition of bike, some are having condition of a car, and there are some people like me who are still running on foot. And even before taking the birth, our starting line has been decided. All right, who will be running from car, who will be running from bike, who will be running on foot, who might be crawling. It is all decided even before we are born. All right, education is now but a condition. Education is not a right now. It is has become a condition of affordability. Those who can afford, they can put their resources and money on education. And if they can afford the education, you can take some expensive coachings and everything. That time education is beneficial for you. But if you don't have resources, money, and you are not born in rich family, that means you can't afford education. This is the condition of education system. And education system is encouraging only one way, all right, to us. Only one way it is, and education system is encouraging. That means to memorize and mug up everything and bring marks. And rest, there is no values in education. You can always think upon what teachers had always focused more on, that you keep memorizing the things, you bring marks, and you will be happy. You will bring marks, you will get job, you will become Chatur Ramalingam, all right, but you won't be having any values in you. And in Gurukul's time, it was all about values than memorizing and bringing marks. All right. Now in Three Idiots, Chatur Ramalingam was failed in the end. In the movie, we have seen that Chatur Ramalingam failed, but it happens only in the movies. But in the actual reality, Chatus always get the opportunity to be on the top. You have always noticed that those who are the toppers in your school, college, they don't have any kind of understanding. They were absolutely big toppers, and they got all the opportunity. They have qualified JE mains and everything. They got into the IITs. They got the job. They are in the foreign trips, and they are having good per annum salaries. And what we are doing, those who thought about being Funsuk Bangadu and that just Ranchordar Chanjat, and we are still lacking behind. And these Chaturs are always getting opportunity to be on the top. Now, I want to say that what other type of learners are there? No, some have photographic memories. They're very good at photographic memories. And if you are, sitting in classroom, they used to understand everything by just, scanning everything in their brain. And there are some kinesthetic learners who learn by activities and experience, like me. And there are some auditory learners who learn by listening to others. All right, but there are many more than 8 to 9 types of students are there now. But our education system is the work of our education system is to groom students and to identify the unfair advantage of the student. No, everybody is different, everybody is unique. Why people say that? Because in all of us there has been some unfair advantage. All right, some are good at sports, some are good at learning, some are good at mugging up things, some are good at communication, some are good at making adjustment, and some are good at giving more creative ideas, some are good at carpentry, engineering, some are good at navy, in ships, some are good at having good attribute, good cognitive skills, they have good reflexes. And so different types of opportunities are there. So education system, the need of education system and the work of education system is to groom the student and identify what is your advantage you are having as a unique student. And after identifying that unfair advantage which a student possess, its work is to find a new renovation in teaching different types of students. All right, now if somebody is able to understand through abilities and experiences and activities, then a new type of teaching method has to be developed for those kind of students. And why you are teaching those students? By making them sit on the classes and listening to those boring lectures, and those unefforted lectures which only provide little bit of understanding, and only the ordinary learners are good at learning those type of things. What about other type of learners? Why you are making them learn in a simple only one way of method of teaching, instead of teaching them in 8 types of different methods? All right, so this is the system which I am always against about. Now, what is my demand? I'm just telling you what I feel that should be changed in education system. Now, I've talked about the ombudsman, psychologists, along with the counselors, and changing the work environment, the society, as well as changing the education system. Now, coming to little factual basis, what is actually required? All right, I've talked to you about some basic things. Now, this is the basic structure which has to be changed. Now, when we do our basic education, there has to be reduction of unnecessary, 25% of syllabus had to be reduced down, because nobody is going. Everybody has to do, some for nuclear physics have to study, but we are not choosing science in our after 10 plus 2. So it is an unfair thing which education system has been doing. It is teaching us organic materials and organic chemistry, unorganic chemistry, and nuclear physics and everything, because still we are not interested. So why you have increased this 25%? You should cut it out and you should give it in professional work courses. Those who want to pursue science, especially in physics, they can read those rocket sciences. Na? Not everybody is interested in reading these rocket sciences. So why you are making us read this rocket sciences? So in basic education, 25% of unnecessary syllabus must be cut it off. Only basic things should be taught. All right, and the education should be without differentiating between science and arts. There should be no science and intelligent student, arts and loafers and uneducated and uncultured students. There should be no type of differentiation. Everybody has right to live with pride. Along with that, in this basic education, there has to be skill development as well. From 9 to 12 standards, one must choose their stream from the 9 standard itself. And after that, 9, 10, 11, 12, these 4 years should be given in that particular field. That if you want to do arts, then do arts only. All right, from 9 onwards to 12th onwards. If you want to do science or commerce, do from 9 to 12 itself. that subject. Along with that, there must be skill development also. If somebody wants to take arts, then he must be little bit having little bit understanding over the chemistry also. Then apart from taking this arts, he can also take some practical of physics as well, all right, to develop him. And he can also take some ip, informatic practices, some computer subjects also. And along with that, he can also take some carpentry course and different types of things, so that his skill development is also being taken place, which will improve his effective intelligence, all right, and logical reasoning. These all things will be developed. So our education system hasn't worked little bit on making us skilled developed. Along with that, there has to be expertise courses in the graduation for better education policy. These are my basic points to better the education policy. There must be expertise course. Now in your graduation, you are doing your graduation, for example, you're doing English honors. So what are you thinking about doing yourself in the graduation? Now in the graduation, I took NCC because I found myself to be attracted towards the armed forces. And even I joined the NCC because I thought it would be a new way of improving my personality and doing lots of extracurricular. I took NCC just because of extracurricular, but later I was so much interested in NCC that I wanted to join the army. This was my brain set and while doing the graduation. So this is an expertise course, all right, but it was not compulsory. But there has to be something compulsory. I'm not telling to make everyone join the NCC, but there must be some expertise course. There can be some language learning course, which I put it in my when I was the president of student union, secretary. I put it that there must be portfolios, sir, to so that students can also learn different languages. I wanted to learn Russian, and I know a little bit of basic Russians. And I told them that why don't we give free certificates for students who have completed their course along with the graduation in learning different languages. Now you can learn Mediterranean, Chinese language, French language, and Russian language. You know, and different type of Pashtun language and what's not. These expertise courses can be done with graduation, which will be completely government funded. So it will help the person in doing their graduation. They will also see what will be developed. Their education will be better. They will be having better education, a little bit syllabus and more knowledge, along with their personality development and everything. There will be no differentiation in science and arts. Plus, with this 9 to 12, there will be also skill development program, which will help him to be effective, intelligent, and logical reasoning will be good. Along with that, when he will be doing graduation, he will be having expertise courses to do well in his professional career. So in this way, a boy or a girl will be a capital fellow. All right, he will be a professional person. He will be having lots of knowledge and everything. So if, in my perspective, that if these things are let me just stop presenting. So if these things are implemented in education system, there is certainly be a reform. This is my I would say 100% of my point of view, because I have given when I was in ninth standard, I had given an essay. I got the second prize in my Jharkhand state by the dig CISF. And this was something I really felt at that time, that is the requirement. And I even wrote the letters to the PMO on it, but there was no reply on it. But education system has to be better. If they don't have such creativity, why don't you take help from the others here? Why don't we take we should make a open platform for every student, that they can file it, whatever the changes they want in education system. Every student can give their suggestions, and whatsoever handful of suggestions you get, you change it as per your perspective. You can always do some work on them and better them and improve the education system of India. But the initiative has been not there. No ideas are there. We have the bureaucrats, the diplomats, but they have zero understanding over it. They don't have this much of innovation and creativity, that these things can also be used to improve the better education system. That's why I tell you that the youth is the future. every whatever I think, you can also think in better way. You can even think in better manner than mine. You can give more suggestion and better suggestions. Just think on it. This is what I thought. I just recollected back what points I wrote in my essays there. And it is work of 2 days. Whatever I understood I wrote. It is not very broad way of telling things, but hardly 4 page, but it took me around 2 to 3 days. And every day after the work, I used to think on it and used to write on the PDF. And this is how I made these things. And still there more things can be done, but it was something which I wanted to tell. And education system is the really need of our hour. All right. So I would like to thank you all for listening, and I will be telling more on the games and everything. Thanks everyone for watching, and Jai Hind.